hot takes. Everybody's got them, including me. Hello everyone, my name is JohneAwesome, and an unfortunate amount of my life is consumed by a Japanese role-playing game made for 13-year-olds. That's right, today we're talking about Persona. Now, I'm no contrarian, but even I have some polarizing views on the Persona games. I've played them all, and boy, let me tell you, there's some things I like that others don't, and vice versa. But at the end of the day, this video is just my opinion. And if you don't like that, kick rocks. My opinions are always good. But in all seriousness, please let me know your input down below. I'd love to get a discussion going and hear what you think of my opinions. And if you want to see more videos like this, leave a like. I really want to do more Persona discussion type videos that aren't just strictly gameplay. So let's start off with my first hot take. It's okay not to like the old Persona games. One of the most overplayed memes in the Persona community is that Persona 3 was the beginning of the franchise in 2006. Nothing else came before that. And it's, haha, we get it. You know, there's other games. But at the same time, those games are old. They are made by different people. They are not in the style of Neo Persona. So if you're a Zoomer who just can't vibe with those style of games, that's okay. If you gave it an honest effort, it's not your fault. Old games are difficult, they're archaic, they're arcane, and they're just kind of uggo. Do I love Persona 1 and 2? Yes, but I understand they are an acquired taste. I was a 90s baby, so returning to those games is such a treat for me because one, they're Atlas games, and they're pretty freaking good, but also the sounds, the aesthetic, the just time those games were made, they appeal to me. But I'm not playing any Atari games, okay? I'm not playing Ultima. Them graphics look like poo-poo.
They're not for everybody. I get it.
And that's fine. I'm just coming out and saying it, man. You're not less of a Persona fan if you didn't play the older games. And it really doesn't help there's no definitive version of these games. The PSP versions of Persona 1 and Persona 2, Innocent Sin, are not the best. There's definitely drawbacks. Whether it's Persona 1's music issues or Persona 2's kind of, I don't know, clumsy menus, and the game doesn't... The PSP is a flawed handheld, okay? Inversely, if you like the older Persona games and you don't really care for the new ones, I don't know, maybe you have a calendar phobia, that's also fair. And if someone says otherwise, tell them to kick rocks. Although, it would be kind of cool if some YouTube personality made a video series highlighting the positive traits of the first Persona game, so even if you were a Zoomer, you could appreciate them. Somebody should get on that. But in the meantime, I'm going to spread my awful opinions. Atlas, change the song already, please. You know the song. The Persona song, Aria of the Soul. Every time you enter the Velvet Room, you hear that classic tune, which we've been subjected to for 16 years. Please rearrange it. Please, 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 please. Did you know in Persona 1 and 2, we had a different arrangement for this song? But since Persona 3, we've been stuck with the same one. Now, there has been some remixes to it. There's blues in the Velvet Room, disco in the Velvet Room, and the Smash remix of the Velvet Room song, as well as Battle for Everyone's Soul, and those are great, but seriously, I've used a lot of Personas. I'm what you'd call a self-described try-hard loser, so I always try to make the best Personas for every possible outcome. And unfortunately, even in the spin-offs, you cannot escape the Aria of the Soul. It's the same song over and over and over and over again. On one hand, yes, people fear change, and they're probably scared to like mix it up too much. Like,
Ooh, what if it's not classic? Ooh, what if we do a bad job? Ooh, if we go back, then it look.
But like, dude, you can do it. You've done it in the past. Please. Now, I'm no music expert, but hey, those speed up versions of songs are really popular on the TikTok. So maybe, I don't know. Think about it, Atlas. That could sound pretty good. Oh god, it's horrible. This one's really unpopular, but yeah, there's no Persona timeline or anything. I don't think it matters. I don't think Atlas cares that much about canon for the Persona series. Obviously, some games are linked, like Persona 3, 4, and 5 definitely exist in the same universe, but things are a little more fuzzy when it comes to 1, 2 and all the other effing games. In the past, you could make the observation that, wow, Hatsune Miku from Persona 4 Dancing All Night technically can exist in the same universe as Yahweh. And that's very silly, but also that was kind of just the reality of the situation. Up until recently. I say recently because in reality, I don't like they probably don't care anymore. There's probably no like official lore expert over at Atlas because that's a very restrictive thing to have with your games. Imagine a team of creatives working on the plot of Persona 6 and be like, oh, dump guys. We gotta do this entire scenario over. Yeah, this conflicts with the lore established in like Soul Hackers, how demons are attracted to like processors because it's like summoning a demon. Yeah, we can't have phones in this arc of the game because it wouldn't make sense with pre-established lore. That sounds ludicrous, but at the same time, Persona and Devil Summoner are kind of like brother and sister games. In fact, a key character shows up in Persona 2. So was like Devil Summoner connected to Persona? Maybe. And now that the ending of Persona 2 has happened, they probably just like axed that. I don't know. Now it's hard to say for sure because Atlas has never like released a like timeline or anything, but it's pretty safe to assume mainline Shin Megami Tensei and Persona are not actually linked. And heck, I don't even know if Persona 1 and 2 and 3 are linked because 3 has some really weird deep lore that is just nothing like the older games. So I don't even know, man. But at the end of the day, like it doesn't really matter. Like most stories are pretty self-contained, right? The Persona timeline is a mess. That's okay. We don't really need one. We're not stupid. That's kind of my opinion. Speaking of old and new, I do not think that Philemon and Nyarlathotep need to appear in future Persona games. These are very beloved characters. Probably more Nyarlathotep. I don't know if Philemon has too many fans, but yeah, I think they're done. And that's okay. For the uninformed, these characters have very big roles to play in Persona 2, and since that game, they have not returned. There was a theory that the primary antagonist of Persona 4 Arena, before it was truly revealed to be, like, people legitimately thought Nyarlathotep was Shadow Teddy. That was a wild time to be a Persona fan. Spoilers, he's not. And I think their story is done, and it's okay. Like, I'm not dying to have Izanami come back. I'm not dying to have Nyx come back. It's just whatever, dude. We're still talking about old Persona. I want to bring this up. I'm kind of down bad for Maya. No, not her. That's a child. That's disgusting. No, not her either. That's still weird. Not the Persona. God dang it. Not the Shadow. There we go. Maya, aka Miss Ideal. What a fitting name. There's just something about her. I mean, I can't be the only one, right? Like, she's kind of bad. I mean, something about her glasses, the way she got her hair up. Oh my God, when she takes her hair down and she gives you that look, bro. My heart starts pounding. I don't think that's actually affection. I think that's fear, but okay, I'm just joking. Let's talk about my favorite Persona designs. I don't know if these are necessarily controversial, but I've decided to divide things between old Persona and new Persona because it's two different art teams and vastly different styles. But let's start off with my least favorite Kaneko era design, which is Vesta from Persona 1. I know it's a little rude to pick on this design because, well, it was the first game. They're still figuring things out, but legitimately, it's awful. I don't like it even a little bit. Why is she a court jester? It's so strange to me. That is not Vesta, even a little bit. And you could argue, well, Vishnu's not a, like, European king. And it's like, I guess, but she even, like, you barely get to see it in game, but even in the Persona manga, she just looks very, very silly. I just don't vibe with it. My favorite Persona from this era, though, has got to be Hades. Now, that might be controversial, but I love this guy to death. He's seriously one of my favorite Persona designs. He's just so god dang perfect. He's got, like, the frick am I? It's like a canopy, okay? He's the lord of the underworld. He's also goth. He doesn't want to get, you know, sun in his eyes. I can respect that. His shoes, fire. His, like, pantaloons or whatever those are called, fire. His element, death, because he's Death Arcana. And he's even got, like, a bouquet of sorts of, I guess Cerberus, because the 3 skulls. It's a nice little reference, but why did Cerberus die? What happened? It complements Akechi's style and character so well. I honestly like him more than Apollo, and that's saying a lot, because Apollo's really cool. As far as new Persona goes, my favorite for a long time was Thanatos, because I mean, come on, he's so cool. But I'm over that. Instead, I think the strongest, like, design, bar none, has got to be Milady, Haru's persona from P5. I know, recency bias, but no, legitimately. She's perfect.
Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
It's a legitimate work of art that she appears in-game and looks as good as she does. Like, making something that massive, that's tough. And the way that she's like, her mask, like that's her face and all the guns under her dress, that is just like the coolest depiction of that literary character. I just love it. It's so, I got nothing bad to say. The devil's in the details. You can just stare at Milady and just be like, wow, you notice something new every single time, from the trim of the dress, blah, blah, blah. Like, you get it. Inversely, we have Pandora, who is the most stinky, awful design in all of Persona, and I stand by that. Like, she's like, Vesta is better than Pandora. Oh wow, she used to be a box. Now she's a naked lady with the head of a box. I feel nothing, legitimately. And what happened to that like unwritten rule that like Personas are not supposed to show skin? Or like have like human-like skin because they're not human, they're persona. While we're on the topic of strikers as a whole, I do honestly truly believe it is the worst spinoff we've ever had. As far as a narrative goes, like bar none, it's bad. My first time playing, I was like, wow, and just kind of blown away by the spectacle, because I don't know, Atlas has never really had a game that flashy before, but when you really dive into it, you really analyze the arcs, the characters, the writing, it is a big old embarrassment, and I don't like it at all. The counter argument is always, you're really playing a Omega 4th Dynasty Warrior for the story? And it's like, bro, 70% of this game is the story. So yeah, I'm gonna critique it. It's not a total disaster, but the villains are unremarkable. Zenkichi is not actually that cool. He's honestly kind of forced. And it's just such a retread and so safe. It's like, why'd you even bother? I legitimately wish they took some more risks. Even the final boss of the game is just P5's final boss under a different name. But they have a cell phone attached to them. Like, you always on that goddamn phone. It's strange. I wish I could be proven wrong and someone's like, actually, it's a forgotten gem and it's kind of meta. And that video will never come out, but we've been a little negative, so let's spice it up with something positive for a change. A character I don't think gets enough love in the Persona series is gotta be Ebihara, the Moon Arcana for Persona 4. And I think this for a couple of reasons. Homegirl's kind of got the short end of the stick. Now, hear me out. I legitimately enjoy her arc. I think it's a story that is, like, really, just in its own way, very depressing. And even in other Persona 4 media, they kind of just miss the point of such a character existing. And it's not like the Moon Arcana is like, you know, oh, I'm the best Moon Arcana. Great, you're the best at being 8th. Back in my day, specifically in the Persona 3 era, it really felt like social links weren't these model people. You could be friends with a bad person, and even a worse friend. And that's just how life is. Not everyone that enters your life is going to be amazing. And Ebihara sort of starts like that. She's a nouvelle riche kind of girl. She's got all of daddy's money to, you know, buy clothes, accessories, etc. And she's even kind of a rebel. She asks you to skip class and go shopping. And you can do that. That's kind of exciting. And God, her first couple social link rank ups, she does not paint herself in a good light. First impressions matter. And I would not blame people for abandoning her social link early on. Because, come on, it's Moon Personas. Oh boy, I got Grr. Look out, Shadows. No one's ever said that, and no one's going to ever say that. But if you stick with it, God, it's so the social link is just, there's just something about it that I don't know, that hot take, they have not replicated at all recently. When you hang out with Ebi long enough, you learn that, dang girl, you like an onion. You stank and you got layers. When Ebi-chan was young in middle school, she was rejected by a boy she liked because she was, and I quote, poo-poo, stanky, nasty, uggo, no, I don't like you. But when her father came into his wealth through land speculation, she now could afford better clothes. She could purchase magazines on all the latest diets and skincare routines. She worked on herself. But still, no one would love Ebihara. Now the common rumor is that she's a stuck-up snob who gets around. She has a Vespa, I guess. Sacrificing so much of your life, your money, your time, just to be loved and appreciated by others, and still not getting it. It's tragic. Also, she'll take a mortal blow for you in battle. She's not even a party member. I love Ebihara, platonically. Not really my type, but you know. It's a shame the Persona 4 anime and other media just completely ruin her character. And it really makes me mad. Why did they do? Why would she manipulate Naraka? What? No, that's not how it works. Why? Unironically, Ebihara is like top 4 Persona 4 characters. You can't top Kanji and Rise. Sorry, it's just not happening. But you know, she's up there. Is all I'm getting. Also, another taboo. I'm going to congratulate Atlas in one of my videos. I know, I never thought this day would happen either, but here we are. Persona 5 Royal legitimately has amazing boss fights. Now, I know what you're thinking, John. You're definitely being contrarian. You know Okumura sucks. You have to admit that. Do I? Do I? As a whole, Persona, kind of simple. You buff, debuff, power charge, and there's not really a lot of mechanics. And that was sort of true for the original P5. But in Royal, oh my god, it is just a dream. They gotta start doing this more in other games, bro. It's amazing. It's amazing. Every fight with one of the palace rulers is memorable or different and just so freaking, oh, it's so good. And it really sucks that people like poke fun at Okumura. It's like, oh, it's easier if you play on harder difficulty. How could this possibly happen? And I get it. That is silly and it's some trial and error. But legit, if we keep complaining about this, they're going to make Persona 6 even easier. And I don't want that, god dang it. I spent a lot of time in the Velvet Room. We've discussed this, making good personas to help me out in battle. And I do not want to just wipe the floor with them. I want my games to punch back. And from just Kanashiro having the whole like sleep mechanic and just rewarding you for using baton pass correctly in the Madarame fight, it's just chef kiss, bro. Oh my god, it's so good. Definitely one of the things I did not appreciate my first playthrough. But on a second, I'm like, wow, this is just so great. If only Shin Megami Tensei could learn from this. Let's hope. Uh-oh, I'm black and white. What happened to the footage? Oh no, is this the negative? Did Johnny mess up the editing? Oh no, he's going to be negative again. While we're talking about Persona 5 Royal, I'll just say this. We need less characters like Kasumi Yoshizawa. I do not like her anymore. It's really a shame, but here we are. Remember when characters had like just actual flaws and weren't just like picture perfect until they weren't, and then it's like, okay, what do we do with the rest of this social link? What the frick? Like, we need more Yukari Takaba, who she's got a memorable arc, bro. Hate her or love her, she's a character. And then we have Kasumi, who really just did not leave a big impact on me. Now you could argue, Johnny, you're just jaded. You're dumb. Shut up. I don't like you. And that is fair criticism. But this could honestly be its own video. Kasumi ain't it, chief. And I'm bold enough to say that, god dang it. We are getting down to the wire here. These are actually things that I think people will legitimately be upset at me about. But here we go. I don't think Persona should go to college. Real talk. I see articles all the time and people saying, Persona needs to grow up. Does it? Or is it you that needs to realize you're not the demographic anymore? Maybe it's just because I'm a super fan, but, you know, Kazuma Kaneko, if memory serves me right, talked about this, that adolescence is the perfect time to introduce demons because it's a turbulent point in one's life. You're becoming an adult, your life is changing, and you just freaking, like, I don't know. Everyone, for the most part, did high school, right? Personally, I didn't go to college. I did not have the typical college experience. So I could not relate to a Persona game with a college setting.
And the balls of these a-holes coming out and saying, the Persona games have a flaw. The over-reliance on high school setting.
Bro, maybe you're the problem. Maybe you cannot realize that there are still kids who are playing these games and discovering this franchise that want to relate to high school characters. I don't know. It just seems greedy to make it all about you. I can't help but think that the people that want this have some nefarious logic behind their reasoning. Something like,
well, if they're in college, you know, they can get scenes with it.
I've definitely seen that reasoning on certain websites. Reddit, I hate you. And obviously Atlas has done this before with Eternal Punishment, but that was a continuation of an already existing game. And I think that's fine. If they want to do a spin-off where it's like, hey, here's the kids after. This is where they're at now. I think that'd be fun, and they could definitely do that again. I'm not against that. But the series to me has always been about making friends, being nice to people, fighting demons, and oh my god, prom is tomorrow. Boy, oh boy, we've come down to the last two, and these two are very... they'll make you mad, but here we go. I think a silent protagonist is a good thing. Now, I know what you're thinking. John, shut up and die. No, you listen to me, silly Willy. I think a silent protagonist is not a flaw, and is actually a benefit to Persona's mission and gameplay. Now, I know what you're thinking. John, that's not that hot of a take. And is it? Because, man, I see this a lot. It's always an article.
Persona's biggest flaw is actually that I have to read.
And I'm just like, why are you like this? Atlas has been making silent protagonists for years, and gosh darn it, I think they got it down. Now, you may think to yourself, well, Johnny, you didn't know? That's old school. They made a character that can talk in Soul Hackers 2, the best game ever, and I
disagree.
At the end of the day, Persona is wish fulfillment. You, the player, come into this new school, make all these new friends, fight all these demons. It's epic. You're cool, and that's fun. That's uplifting, and it's just neat. And if I hear a snarky character just be like,
I don't think I've ever loved a woman before.
oh, I would die. I would hate it so much. And last but not least, we have the big one. This goes against a lot of fan canons. Some fan fictions are probably destroyed, but if we're talking about the video games, not accessory media, but it is, in my opinion, when you max a social link or confidant, you do not have... Now, I know what you're thinking, Johnny, it says in the dialogue, you have to kill Kawakami, it's canon. Does it? Does it really? Let's dive deeper into that, shall we? So let's just legitimately discuss this. For the most part, I understand, unfortunately. In recent years, it seems the Persona fanbase has just become demonstrably horny, and trying to fight that is probably a losing battle, but just hear me out. First and foremost, there are some people that have sex in Persona, but it's not you. It's not the main character. It's biological fathers, so Dojima, Sojiro, because, I mean, come on, of course he does. And Kawakami, but not with you, with other people. That's pretty obvious. Like, there's no way a game that is a Zero rating 13 would have that sort of content when similar games are ranked a lot higher, right? That was my theory, and so I dug a little deeper and actually looked at the original Japanese script. I started with Yukari because her rank 10 is very, It's kind of obvious. Specifically when Yukari says like, "Hey, I hope nobody hears me scream." And it's like, why would you scream? We're not even near a roller coaster, Yukari. You're so silly. You know that? But in the non-localized Japanese text, and for the record, I don't know barely any Japanese. I'm getting there, but I'm pretty sure that line is not even mentioned. It's more along the lines of, I hope nobody hears us talking because, you know, I snuck you in here. That's the vibe I get. And that's radically different. And I looked at a couple of other Persona 3 max rank social links, and it's kind of just the same story. It's purposely vague. They cut to black on purpose. It can be whatever you want. But to think that, like, the authors are like, yeah, this is epic. They're doing it. That's kind of not good. So there's no way that is the implication, right? Right? I've seen counter arguments to this, and they're always very, like, silly. One person pointed out how when you hug Mitsuru in P3, it looks like you're, you know, I'm not gonna say it, but it's like, bro, that's obviously a hug. Are you stupid? And in general, I just don't know. I've never really been a fan of the Persona romances, if you can even call them that. It's like barely. And I kind of prefer if the series stays that way, because if it really goes down the route of like, okay, let's, you know, talk about your relationship with these characters, it's like, okay, then all the demons and like all the, you know, Jungian stuff, that gets pushed back a little bit. And not really, I like the good balance that we got now. I'll say this though, especially in the Persona 5 anime, Valentine's special. It's a lot more explicit. Like almost to a dangerous effect. I don't know if I like that. Call it fan canon, call it being ignorant. I do not care. That is the stance I have, that like, yeah, they're probably just like, I don't know, holding hands and having a kiss. Seems more responsible. I don't know. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I loved making it. I love just talking about the series. I know the 25th anniversary of Persona was sort of a letdown, but I would just love to have more discussion videos like this and just get my thoughts about the series out there, because I played the games a lot, brother. I know a fair amount. And if you have some Persona hot takes, please let me know. I'd love to hear your favorite and least favorite Persona designs. Those in particular, I'd love to eat those up. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like if you want to see more. All that good stuff. And see you next time with another video coming soon.